A suicide bombing at a bus station rocked the Russian city of Volgograd this morning. It is the second blast in 2 days in the city, just 400 miles from the site of the Winter Olympics. It is a key hub for transportation in the region. The attacks are raising security fears for the safety of travelers headed to the games in February. Caitlin Burke has the story.
For the second straight day, an explosion rocked the Russian city of Volgograd. Officials say a suicide bomber blew himself up on a trolley bus, killing at least 14 people and wounding nearly 30 others. And here you can see the bombing that happened only a day earlier at the Volgograd train station. That blast caught by a surveillance camera. There were bodies everywhere, this woman said. Inside the train station, everything is destroyed. At least 17 people were killed in that attack, the bomb going off just after noon on a peak travel day in Russia. Russian authorities say the bombings are related and no doubt acts of terrorism, raising concerns about the safety of the Winter Olympics in Sochi in only 6 weeks.
I think the Russian government has something to fear, and that is the potential loss of face, the potential embarrassment to them if this terrorist syndicate is able to pull off one or more major terrorist events.
Volgograd is an important train link from Moscow to Sochi, which is only a little more than 400 miles away. Both cities located near the unstable northern Caucasus region, where Islamic terrorists have been fighting a brutal rebellion for the past 2 decades. Recently, a terrorist leader called for attacks against civilian targets in Russia, including the Winter Olympics. CBN News recently took a trip to the region. Though Christians are harshly persecuted, we spoke to a pastor who's working to bring peace through the gospel.
I am convinced that it is the love of Christ that can turn this region around.
Meanwhile, the Kremlin has deployed tens of thousands of soldiers, police, and other security personnel for the Games. And Russian President Putin promises the safest Olympics in history. Caitlin Burke, CBN News.
After Egypt officially banned the Muslim Brotherhood, many people started dismissing it as no longer a powerful arm of radical Islam. But almost daily riots and ongoing violence in the streets of Egypt prove Brotherhood members are not ready to give up. As Eric Stackelbeck has more.
Dozens of Christian churches burned to the ground. Deadly attacks against Egyptian troops and police. Calls for jihad against the so-called enemies of Allah.
The Muslim Brotherhood and its allies have been very busy since the Egyptian military forced President Mohamed Morsi from office.
The Brotherhood is clearly on the ropes in Egypt. It has once again been outlawed, and most of its leaders now sit in prison awaiting trial. Polls show that a large majority of Egyptians are pleased with the change. Millions of Egyptians consistently took to the streets in massive protest calling for Morsi's ouster.
People on the ground in Egypt are kind of sick of them.
Middle East expert and CBN contributor Raymond Ibrahim says Egyptian outrage is rooted in Morsi and the Brotherhood's decision to put the advancement of radical Islamist ideology over the good of the Egyptian people.
They're being accused of being disloyal, working with foreign entities, and just to get themselves in power and then to do their bidding.
The Brotherhood has also faced backlash in Tunisia, where it rose to power in 2011. Its Palestinian branch, Hamas, has been weakened as well. And a recent leadership change in the tiny oil-rich nation of Qatar, one of the global Brotherhood's biggest financiers, may affect the group's efforts around the world. But don't begin writing an obituary just yet, because the Muslim Brotherhood remains active in some 70 countries worldwide, and it is resilient.
We have to remember that the Muslim Brotherhood is a very substantial factor in the Arab world. This is the biggest mass movement in the Arab Muslim Sunni world.
Avi Melamed is a former Israeli intelligence official. He says that as the Brotherhood struggles to regain its footing, even more radical forces like al-Qaeda are seeking to take advantage in places like Syria.
Syria also become the stage for the struggle between practical political Syrian elements like the Free Syrian Army on the one hand, and radical Islam affiliated group who basically see Syria as a great opportunity to establish an al-Qaeda-style base in the heart of the Arab world.
The growing strength of al-Qaeda and its allies became clear most recently in Kenya, where the terror group al-Shabaab killed at least 67 people at a Nairobi shopping mall. At the same time, Shiite Iran continues its march towards a nuclear bomb, and its proxy Hezbollah has stockpiled tens of thousands of rockets and missiles. Then there is the Brotherhood-aligned Turkish government, which continues to be a powerful player in the Middle East and beyond.
As for the Muslim Brotherhood, CBN News has reported that Brotherhood followers hold influential advisory positions in the Obama administration, and Brotherhood members continue to lead violent protests against the interim Egyptian government.
In fact, if anything, usually before a death blow, things get very chaotic and hectic and violent. So if anything, you can expect to see more of an outlash from the Brotherhood.
Eric Stakelbeck, CBN News, Washington.
Here at home, two storm systems are causing dangerous weather conditions from the Midwest to the Northeast. North Dakota officials banned travel in parts of the state due to near zero visibility. And in New England, crews have been working around the clock to restore power to areas that have been without heat and electricity for a week. More bad weather on the way. Some places could get as much as a foot of snow by tomorrow. President Ronald Reagan likened America to a shining city on a hill. But since the Obama administration took office, talking about American greatness and exceptionalism has almost been frowned upon. Mark Martin caught up with an Australian who's trying to bring back that optimism and hope.
There has never been a nation like America.
Whether it's through public speaking or TV appearances,
My message is really resonating. I'm striking a chord with Americans.
or through his books, Australian Nick Adams' message is clear. America is exceptional.
What makes an Australian write several books on American exceptionalism?
It's a great question. I have always been fascinated by America. I find America a compelling place. I find its people exceptional. I find its culture exceptional. It's individualism, not collectivism. It's optimism, not pessimism. Limited government, not nanny state. It's patriotism, not relativism.
American exceptionalism became a hot topic of debate when President Obama downplayed the phrase on his first trip overseas.
I believe in American exceptionalism, just as I suspect that the Brits believe in British exceptionalism and the Greeks believe in Greek exceptionalism.
I think that concerns about the Obama administration and the course that they are taking America are well-founded. There is little doubt, I think, to any objective analyst that President Obama is seeking to Europeanise America, for want of a better term. He's seeking a Western European socialist state. He sees America as just another country and wants to take it down a peg. And I think that those things are not healthy for America.
If you had one piece of advice for Americans, what would that be?
To remain the most patriotic, optimistic, libertarian, confident and religious nation in the world. To exercise fidelity to your Constitution, to the Declaration of Independence, to the visions of your founding fathers. Everyone's heard of the American dream. And that's the one dream that we need to foster and we need to encourage and we need to nurture and we need to protect with every ounce and fibre of our body until our last breath has left us.
Mark Martin, CBN News.
Well, the year is coming to an end, and so is your chance to take advantage of the tax benefits of charitable contributions. Experts say one often overlooked area of charitable giving is to donate appreciated stock. If you own stock that has risen in value this year, you can donate it and deduct the fair market value of that stock on your 2013 income tax return. Another benefit, you won't have to pay any capital gains tax on the value of the stock. And if you put a cash contribution on your credit card or write a check dated by December 31st, you can also deduct it on this year's tax return. Phil Robertson will return to the popular Duck Dynasty reality show. The A&E network had suspended Robertson over statements he made about homosexuality during an interview with GQ magazine. Gay rights groups slammed Robertson over the comments. In a statement Friday, A&E said, after discussions with the Robertson family, as well as consulting with numerous advocacy groups, A&E has decided to resume filming Duck Dynasty later this spring, with with the entire Robertson family. Duck Dynasty is cable's biggest reality show ever, with an average of 14 million viewers per week. 86 families in Thailand experienced Christmas for the first time in their lives, thanks to CBN's Angel Tree Project. The isolated village of Ban Way Wat is home to families living in extreme poverty. So CBN launched the Angel Tree Project. Christmas trees were set up in city malls with the names and photos of village children so people could donate gifts. 118 children received Christmas gifts like backpacks and dolls. They also watched Superbook's episode, The First Christmas. And you can always find out more about what CBN is doing around the world by logging on to cbn.com/international.